This is a Cuban Trump supporter from where else but Florida with a tattoo of Trump's face on his chest, who is now afraid he might get deported because of the recent surge in ICE activity. Watch.
He describes himself as a fan of President Trump, so much so, he showed us how his admiration for the president is skin deep. But his love for the commander-in-chief has turned a bit sour as ICE raids intensify across the country. He, like so many other Cubans, are still in jeopardy of being deported. Estimates there are at least 400,000 Cubans who, like Eloski, entered the U.S. through the southern border and were released with what's called an I-220A instead of parole.
I wish we knew the answer to that. It's a problem because the government does not accept that as a legal entry.
So Cubans with I-220As cannot apply to the Cuban Adjustment Act?
That's the government's position.
In the meantime, Cubans like Eloski find themselves in a dangerous legal limbo. He came to the U.S. in 2019 and thought by now Trump would have helped Cubans like him legalize their status.
Why did you think you would be the exception? And what makes it worse is the man you support is the reason the United States won't recognize your release order as valid legal entry, which means you can't adjust status, which means you can't apply under the Cuban Adjustment Act. And you say you still support him. But you know what? I'm done explaining.
Cubanos por Trump to the front of the room. Do y'all remember that movement?
Oh my God, I will vote. I will vote for Donald Trump.
2 moments later.
A wave of disappointment. One of President Donald Trump's most loyal voting blocs, Cuban and Venezuelan immigrants. Now speaking out in Miami, a Republican stronghold, as the recent wave of deportations hits home.
Ay, sí, usted está aquí por su esposo. Por mi esposo que fue detenido ahora injustamente.
I will vote for Donald Trump. Everybody, come on. ¡Injusticia! ¡Es esto! ¡Injusto! Esto es para cualquiera. Tienen lista con abogados, sin abogados, esto es como quiera. Como si fuera un delincuente. No hay ningún delincuente cumpliendo derechos en este país. Y mira lo que le hacen. Injusticia.
¿Qué caso tenía su esposo?
Y 220A con fecha de corte.
Y que estaba detenido, que había presentado
el asilo. Pero nada, a ellos no les importa que tú tengas asilo, a ellos no les importa nada. Eso es al azar. Porque por favor que ayuden, que traten de apoyar a mi esposo como apoyar a los otros.
Now, I just want to be clear. I don't take any glory in this. And it is honestly quite sad. But the fact that y'all thought this man was going to protect you with what he showed us in his first term is beyond imagination. But there's something different between Cubans and Venezuelans like this than other Latinos. Because, see, they thought they had the complexion for protection. They thought they was white enough and blonde enough that they would slip under the radar. But they learned today.
Many Cuban immigrants, they thought by supporting DJT, it would make them the good immigrants. They believe that their proximity to whiteness would protect them. They even made a song for him, campaigned for him, and even celebrated his victory, believing that they will be safe. But now many are now realizing that immigration policy does not care about loyalty, politics, and even proximity to whiteness. So let's get to see more reactions. Then I'll come back with more commentary, all right? Let's dive into it.
Cubans in Florida are being deported in record numbers. Cubans have had a long-standing special relationship with the United States of America and have had special immigration privileges for decades now. Cubans were among some of the Latino population who supported and voted for Donald Trump at the highest numbers, lest we forget the Donald Trump song that they came up with.
Vote for Donald Trump, I love my freedom. I will vote for Donald Trump.
While Cubans held those privileges for decades, Donald Trump has changed that. According to an article by the New York Times, has repatriated more than 1,600 Cubans in 2025, according to the Cuban government. That is about double the number of Cubans who were repatriated in 2024, and in years that Trump has been president. He has sent more Cubans back than his last 3 predecessors. Polls, however, suggest that many Cubans who support Trump still do support Trump, but they're confused as to why they thought they would be immune to ICE raids, immune to deportation, and they really thought they were a part of the MAGA family. At the end of the day, this is one big fuck around and found out, and I told you so, because you were always Latino in this country. You were never white. You were never MAGA. You were never a part of white supremacy or a part of the white national identity, my love. Now, beloved, look at you. You and Abuelita are getting separated, going to the panaderia to buy Cuban bread. And that's on you. That is not on anyone else, because you voted for this. And this is not me gloating, because no one should be getting separated from their families. No one should be deported. But you guys were one of the main group of people to tell us to shut up, and that you knew what President Trump was going to do for you.
Hey, y'all remember this? The I will vote for Donald Trump crowd? Remember them? Do you remember this video coming up right here?
Vote for Trump. Let's go. Vote for Trump. I will vote for Donald Trump.
Well, now look at this. Cubans are being deported from Florida in record numbers under Trump's second term. Even though many of them backed him, we know the Miami Cubans love to think that they are non-minorities. They love to think that they're better than every other Latino group. They love to think that they came here a certain way and F everybody else. And they very much love to vote Republican and love to vote against their interest. But not working out them so well. How many of them are saying I would vote for Donald Trump now? Because as you can see, they're getting deported like crazy. But remember, y'all was out here with this Cubans for Trump. Now, y'all out here like this. And this is why I will say every time, some of y'all minorities who be trying to act like y'all better than everybody else, meanwhile, half y'all wouldn't be over here if it wasn't off the backs of black people and enslaved people, but I digress. You want to down every other group of people. A lot of y'all Cubans really can't stand black people. Y'all can't stand again other Latino groups. Y'all really think that y'all are the closest thing to whiteness and that you're going to be accepted and that you're this and that. And as you see, when it comes to Donald Trump, he doesn't care about anything that you have to say. He doesn't care that you voted for him or that your family members voted for him, because he gonna round your ass up just like everybody else and show you that you are just like every other minority. He don't give a damn about you. Next time, vote the way that are in your interest, not against your interest.
So this message is for the Latinos who voted for Trump, more specifically the Cubanos. See, I told you. Now your asses are going to be sent back to your fucking country. You're going to lose all your businesses, livelihoods, all your friends, all because you thought you were fucking light-skinned enough to go ahead and get a free fucking pass. How does it feel now, huh? To have somebody tell you that you don't fucking belong here. For someone to tell you that even though you got signed work to be here, that they're going to go ahead and revoke it. Crazy, right? And now this is the consequences of your fucking actions, because you wanted to be a fucking pick-me. And when you're back in Cuba and you're sitting there wondering what the fuck happened or how things went wrong, remember, you did this. This is your fault. This is your problem that you need to deal with now.
To a lot of people here in my hometown in Miami, the consequences of voting for Donald Trump are going to be a lesson in humility for a lot of y'all. I guarantee you. Over the Thanksgiving break, Papi Tron, the dear leader of Hialeah, announced that he is going to order the immigration authorities of this country, in particular USCIS, to review the green card eligibility of people from 19 countries. Now, he's doing this according to his argument, right? Because of the really unfortunate events that happened in Washington, D.C. recently, where a member of the National Guard was unfortunately killed, allegedly by an Afghan immigrant, right? And he's using that one isolated incident as an excuse to keep persecuting and harassing the migrant community of this country, right? Now, on this list of 19 countries is Venezuela and Cuba, meaning that Trump is planning to order a large-scale review across the country of Cubans and Venezuelans that have green cards right now and at some point have to renew them, and Cubans and Venezuelans that are in the process of applying for one, right? He wants it to be really difficult for people from these 19 countries in particular, including those two, to get a green card and to keep it. Now, these are some of the largest communities here in South Florida, in Miami, and the two groups of Latinos that overwhelmingly voted for him, supported him, and still, to this day, according to what I see every single day out in the streets here in Miami, continue to support him, right? Now, I know what many of you may be thinking, right? What is this guy talking about? Green card holders can't even vote, right? Well, that's true. But many of them, despite the fact that they're still, in between obtaining legal status, morally and scream and yell and support Trump, right? Of these both communities in particular, overwhelming support. And if we're talking about their family members, any of them that are U.S. citizens, 9 times out of 10, they voted for this guy. They still support him. They still go hard for him. And a lot of them, I've even heard them say from their own mouths, yeah, I have a family member, a loved one, a friend that was detained by ICE. And I hate that, it really sucks, it affects me. But if I had to vote for Donald Trump, I would still do so again. Mind you, Donald Trump has stripped humanitarian parole from Cubans and Venezuelans, has stripped TPS from Venezuelan migrants, has made it more difficult for people to apply for asylum and actually get asylum and be able to remain in this country legally. And now he's even wanting to mess with green card applications that make it so you're a permanent resident in the US. Bueno, but keep supporting him. He's the best, right, Papitron? To the end. If you guys don't learn to be humble, to understand the mistakes that you made, it's only going to get worse from here on out. Because your communities are the ones that are suffering. Ironically, the communities that supported him the most.
All right. Trying to explain why the Cubans and the Venezuelans and all the minority that still support Donald Trump strongly to this day, even though Donald Trump openly disregards these minority groups and also express himself openly in public places through speech and his own actions, saying that how much he don't want these people in this country. There's only one answer, because all these people came from a dictator country and they were brainwashed their whole life before they came to the United States. They still hardwired to thinking of being submissive to the regime, and the regime ain't gonna do anything to you. That's sad and, unfortunate, because they cannot switch to this U.S. mindset yet, because, you stand up. If the government did something wrong to you, you have to stand up and fight them in court to get your right. They're not there yet. So that's why they want to support Donald Trump, because Donald Trump got them scared. And they are in survival mood now. And their only strategy in that survival mood is to support whoever threatened them to do bad things to them, so they be submissive. Okay, and that set up a very sad example and very strong example to stand up and fight Donald Trump, and don't be submissive, because at the moment you submit, you're dead, you're done for, and then there's no comeback. All right, so for those people, if you know, for everyone who watched this video, if you know that people like that, share this video with them. Keep telling them, you need to stand up and fight. If you don't support Donald Trump, he will just die like a paper tiger. That's all. Okay?
This moment is not just about Cuban immigrants. It is a larger lesson in American racial politics, immigration, and power. Many Cuban immigrants, they believe that supporting DJT, that it will separate them from other immigrants. They believe they were different, and they believed that they were closer to whiteness, closer to power, and closer to acceptance. And that belief is not unique in America. Throughout history, many immigrant groups, they have tried to align themselves with whiteness as a survival strategy. They believe that if they distance themselves from black people, undocumented immigrants, or even marginalized communities, that they will be rewarded. But whiteness in America has never been about proximity. It has always been about control. So when some Cuban Trump supporters, they supported him, they didn't just vote for lower taxes or conservative values. They supported policies that targeted all immigrants. They supported mass deportations and stricter asylum rules, and a system that does not care to ask who you voted for. So many Cuban Trump supporters, they believe they are the good immigrants. And that narrative has always been a dangerous one, because the moment you accept the idea of good immigrants versus bad immigrants, you've already agreed that some people, they deserve rights and others don't. Proximity to whiteness, it is not protection. It is conditional, and it is temporary, and it can be revoked at any moment. Historically, groups that once considered white adjacent have been pushed out when politically convenient. The Italians, the Irish, the Jewish, and many Latino groups were not always considered as white. So whiteness has always been a moving boundary drawn to maintain power. Some Cubans, they try to distance themselves from black Americans, believing that anti-blackness would secure their place, But black Americans, they want them, and they told them that the policies you cheer today may be used against you tomorrow, So now some are shocked and regretting their vote, and they are now realizing that immigration enforcement does not care about ideology or even loyalty. And this is not about celebrating anyone's pain, because deportation tears family apart and it traumatizes communities. But this is about accountability, When you vote for policies that harm others, you're also voting for a system that can harm you too. The lesson here is solidarity. Immigrant communities, black communities, and marginalized communities, when divided, they are easier to control, But when united, they are powerful. And at this moment should spark reflection, and not just among Cubans, but among all immigrants who believe assimilation through distancing from blackness will save them. America's racial hierarchy is not a ladder you climb. It is a system designed to keep power concentrated. So thank you so much for tuning in. Be sure to like, subscribe, and share. Have a good one. I'll see you in the next video.